Well, it finally happened to me. I put new IWEs on my truck 20,000 miles ago. And then 20,000 miles before that, I put IWEs on the truck as well. So it seems like the first set got about 20,000, the second set got about 23,000 out of it before they went. First set was OE. Second set was Dorman. Well, they actually make an eliminator kit. And before you guys start wanting to tell me stuff in the comment section about blocking off the vacuum tube and the IWEs will go ahead and front seat anyway and they'll act like they're their own eliminator, no. It doesn't work that way. It does work that way and it doesn't work that way. And plus, I'm the OG that put that shit out on the internet anyway. I'm the one that actually brought the TSB to the internet, started talking about it, started teaching people about Ford's service procedure for the 4x4 actuated F150s and SUVs that have the 4x4 auto system. And the TSB actually says to remove the vacuum line from the supply port, plug it off, and just let the system think that it's operating even though that it's not. And you'll just have front seated IWEs all the time and it should cause no issues with the vehicle at all. Theoretically, will it cause a little bit more wear? Yeah, possibly. Will it cause a little bit more heat buildup and stuff in your front diff fluid and have to service it a little sooner? Possibly, yes. But Ford didn't put that out to anybody to warn them that this could be a possible issue. I'm literally the first person to put that out on the internet, as far as I know. And I've been talking about it for years. So save that. I don't need the lesson. I've been the one giving the lesson. I've done the same thing to this particular truck. It still is a vacuum diaphragm that's really weak. And under vacuum, it releases in two-wheel drive. And then when you put it in four-wheel drive, the solenoid shuts and it exhausts the vacuum that's in the system. And then it front seats and reconnects with the wheel bearing. What was happening is it wasn't quite seating properly. Especially if you haven't used the four-wheel drive in a while. It was kind of sticking. So about 2 weeks ago, I put the truck in four-wheel drive knowing that winter's coming up. It's going to be snow on the ground soon, probably. And when I went to go pull off, I heard this chattering sound coming from the wheel. And I was like, oh, no. I haven't used the four-wheel drive in forever, and I should have put it in four-wheel drive every once in a while. And I always forget to do that from time to time. Even Toyota says with their vehicles, you need to at least once a month put the vehicle in four-wheel drive and then take it out of four-wheel drive so that way everything is moving. If you leave it unengaged for so long and then you go to engage it, you're probably going to have problems because you never use the system. You got to use it or you lose it. You know how that saying goes, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. If it wasn't for women, your thing would rust. Same way with the trucks. You got to use it or you lose it. And I wasn't using it. I wasn't engaging the four-wheel drive at all from time to time just to make sure everything was good. What ended up happening is when I finally did go to engage it, it didn't engage. It partially engaged, but it wouldn't seat over the wheel bearing all the way to engage properly. And when I went to go take off, the teeth of the IWE started chattering with the teeth of the wheel bearing. So, here's an IWE. This is a lockout IWE. This is an eliminator IWE. This is not the same one as the regular factory one. So basically where this ring is here, this has a diaphragm on the original style and the aftermarket original style, where when there's vacuum, it sucks in. It keeps it in two-wheel drive mode. Doesn't engage the wheel hubs. But they still rotate. They still spin. They still create resistance going down the road. They still wear the fluid in the front differential no matter what. It still is there doing its thing. But it's not engaged like it is with these eliminators. So what ends up happening is that bellow, as it moves in and out, and this ring right here engages with the wheel bearing and doesn't. Engages and doesn't. Engages and doesn't. They get stuck sometimes. Or the rubber diaphragm blows out and they can't engage properly. Or you get vacuum line leaks and you're not getting enough vacuum down there to actually disengage the four-wheel drive. So, I have a bunch of videos on how to diagnose the system, so don't ask a lot of questions on that here. Just get out of here and go back into the YouTube search area, type in IWE Ford Boss Me, and all kinds of stuff will pop up where I show you diagnosing it, I show you the ins and outs of it, I talk to you about everything. What's good about this kit is this is a 600-405 from Dorman. This is a 600-405 from Dorman. This is an eliminator kit. Basically what it is this ring right here on the back of this. I can actually slide it out with one hand. This ring here seats over the wheel bearing. The other side of the ring seats on the splines of the CV axle. So they sit and they engage with each other, right? And what ends up happening is, you see the ring that's in the middle of it, the snap ring? Here, let me see. See the snap ring that's in the middle of it? When you install this until that snap ring is sitting all the way up against the wheel bearing. And then when you put your CV axle in, you put your CV axle in until it's all the way up against that center snap ring as well. Come on. I took it out with one hand. Sure. Should go back in with one hand, right? Come on. All right, anyhow. So once you get this all installed, you don't have to worry about, like with the original ones, when you would go to install the one that you can actually actuate, like the original style. They wanted you to suck air on this so the diaphragm was pulled in, and then when you set it down in there and mated it with the wheel bearing and torque your bolts down, then you could take the vacuum out, and then that's how you were supposed to install it. It didn't really matter, to be honest with you. They were just trying to make a bunch of BS up to basically act like they knew what they were talking about with a faulty system. This style here, where there's no bellow and it doesn't actuate in and out, it's just this metal ring, wheel bearing on one side, CV axle on the other side. So it'll go in like normal, just like this. You notice the vacuum ports are blocked off, so they're not going to do anything at all. They're just dummy ports, so you go ahead and plug your vacuum lines up to it. And right here there's a grease zerk fitting that actually has an outlet right here in this channel above this ring, so you can actually grease this ring where it's sliding around on itself inside this rubber or this plastic housing. And I went ahead and installed these over the weekend. I got a live video that I can probably edit and put up, and immediately fixed my problem. No more issues with the brrrr, and you know, just the four-wheel drive not engaging. It engages instantly now. There's no this delay to wait for the vacuum to do this and then engage and then okay, now I'm in four-wheel drive. It's switch to four-wheel drive. It locks in the transfer case and it's already ready to go in four-wheel drive. You don't have to wait for the IWEs and all the other BS. But be conscious of it, because now you have, you know, more rotating engaged axles that are not as free. They still moved before, but they're not as free. You do have to be conscious of the fluid. I'd say probably changing the front diff fluid about 20 to 30,000 miles instead of 40 to 50,000 miles running this type of system. And everything basically hooks up the same. Literally should take you about a half hour aside. You got a 21 millimeter tie rod end nut. You've got a 21 millimeter or an 18 millimeter upper control arm nut. I'm not exactly sure. I don't remember. Then you got a 15 millimeter or a 13 millimeter CV axle nut that's right in the center of the hub underneath the little cap. And then you got two 10 millimeter bolts that hold the actual like brake lines and stuff along the side of the mount on the side of the knuckle and up on the side of the actual frame where all the lines run. And then you got an 8 millimeter bolt that goes through that as well, that holds the wheel bearing or the wheel speed sensor for the wheel bearing. And once you pull all that out of the way and it's kind of loose, you can literally just start peeling that apart, pull that CV axle right out of there. Use an 8 millimeter for the 3 bolts there on the back of the IWE, Go ahead and pull that out of there, throw it away, put the eliminators in, make sure everything's nice and greased up before you put it together. I used some of Schaefer Supreme Moly formula, their heavy duty grease. It's really slick and it works great. I filled it up with that, put everything back together, and it works absolutely phenomenal. No more freaking delay in four-wheel drive, no none of that. It's just actually great. And I wish that I would have found this before and did it this way instead of doing put the cap on the vacuum line, and the IWE will front seat and it will act like it's a locker like this, an eliminator like this, even though it's really not. It still can be faulty and it still can have issues, where this is just a solid ring that just locks right onto it, that there ain't going to be no iffy diaphragm in the way by doing Ford's 4x4 actuated fix for the IWE problems that they're doing on some of the 4x4 auto stuff. Anyhow, really you can do it on any of them. It doesn't have to be just 4x4 auto. It can be any of them from like 2011 to 2020. I think 21 or 22 they switched to electronically controlled, which is a completely different IWE than this. But these work great. And I heavily suggest, if you guys are having IWE problems like I have over the last 4 years, get you a set. Install them. They're easy. No problem. Y'all take care. Be blessed.